everyone, we are going to discuss today our topic, the cultural communities in Mindanao. Island of Mindanao is the second largest part of the Philippines next to Luzon. Mindanao is also known as a land of promise because of its rich of biodiversity and natural resources. The island is rich in culture and history as well as indigenous people who add color, fun, excitement to the island. Mindanao culture is a true reflection of the people who live there. They reflect not only the native artistic ingenuity, but also their beliefs, traditions, and the way of life. So let's talk about the Lumad people. The Indigenous Cultural Communities or ICCs in the Philippines or Lumad are believed to make up about 10% of the national population. Also known as cultural minorities, they had been pushed to the mountains and forests by lowlanders ever since towns or city were built. Most of the ICC do not possess money or private property, and widely discriminated against, find it hard to integrate with mainstream society, with the destructions of the forest as well, and it as with efforts of the lowland majority to assimilate them into Christian culture. The ICC struggles to protect their ancestral domain and cultural identity. In 1986, 15 of more than 18 ICC in Mindanao adopted the term Lumad, a Visayan word for native or indigenous, to distinguish themselves from Christians and Muslims in Mindanao. Enacted during Corazon Aquino's time, Republic Act 6734 used the term to differentiate these ethnic communities from Bangsamoro people, Rodel 2004. So Lumad are non-Muslims or non-Christians, although the orientation of their culture developments appears to be toward the Muslim groups. The anthropologist Felipe Landa Hocano stresses that in the most cases, language is the only differentiating elements ethnic culture, particularly among those which occupy adjacent and contiguous territory. Tabato Manubo. They are people who live in southwest highlands of Mindanao. They are also known as Dulangan. Dulangan means a high place and Tudag. They are Christians and have been largely assimilated, and traditional culture has disappeared. In northern Cotabatos, their ways of qualifying girls into manhood and womanhood is ilahang ginabuhat is kuan sila og plant katong plant nga maumaw ilahang i-blacken ilang teeth ilahatong usapon dayon pag kung mag-black na din ilahang ngipon after ana moadto na din sila og ceremony for tasting new rice that kanang mag-qualify sa ilang nga ma-full na din sila nga manhood and womanhood. Pagubos our group that live in a very mountainous region of Mindanao between the upper Pilangi and Davao rivers, also known as the Manubo, Ubo, or Ubo. They are divided into two main groups, the coastal Bagobo, who were influenced Christianity's plantations and were largely assimilated. An upland Bagubo was traditionally practiced slash and burn agriculture and derive about 25% of their food from hunting and gathering fish. So now, the coastal Bagubo, they now reside either with the upland Bagubo or with the Visayans. So the coastal Bagubo, they don't exist anymore as a separate group. The Bilaan or Bilaan is a group that lives in South Central Mindanao, also known as the Balud, Baraan, Bilanes, Biraan, Blan, Bulaan, Bulwanes, Tagalagad, Takogan, Tumano, Bilanes. They live in a house scattered among gardens and also ruled by Datu. The Bilaan people of Mindanao wrap their dead inside tree barks, being enveloped as such the dead person's body is then suspended from tree tops. So next is the Bukidnon. The Bukidnon is a group that lives in the highlands north central Mindanao, also known as Binukid, Higaonan, and Higaonin. They have traditionally been farmers who raise corn, rice, sweet potatoes, bananas, coconuts, and use water buffalo to plow their fields. Many had been assimilated and most are Catholics. The ones who remained closest to the old ways lived near the headwaters of Pulangi River on the slopes of Mount Kitanglad or Mount Kalatungan. They used to live in common houses with as many 50 families, but now they live in single family houses. The Mandaya. The Mandaya are Annamese ethnic group that lives along the Mayo River. In the old days, Mandaya youth blackened their teeth upon reaching puberty. These acts were considered aids to beauty which helped a young person to find a suitable partner for marriage. The next is the Tibuli, pronounced Tibuli, of Mindanao. People live in the southern part of the province of Cotabato, in the area around Lake Cebu, west of the city General Santos. In the past, the Tibuli practiced slash and burn agriculture. Slash and burns means that the people will clear a part of the forest by cutting trees and burning the lower and smaller trees and bushes, after which they use to clear the plots of arable land for some years without any fertilizations. Rice, cassava, and yams were the most important agricultural products. Next to that, the people went hunting or fishing for additional food. These days, slash and burn is no longer possible.
Muslims are the most significant minority in the Philippines. They are, for the most part, remain outside the mainstream of national life, set apart by their religion and way of life. The Muslims are believers of Islam. The Muslims possess a culture which is different from the of the Christian Filipinos. Their culture has been greatly influenced by Islam. It will be an interesting venture to know more about their culture. Islam means complete submissions to the will of Allah. Complete submissions means all the affairs that happen to man, including his daily affairs, be according to the will of Allah, be it business, government, education, social life, arts, and culture. The creed of the Muslims is simple. There is no God but the God Muhammad in his messenger. God has revealed himself to different people and in different language to inspire thinkers as Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad. Muslims believe that Muhammad was the last messenger of God. God's message is written in the Holy Al-Quran, in English, the Quran. Quran is the Bible of Muslims. Maguindanao. The Maguindanao refers to the people living in the Pulangi area, located in what are now North Cotabato, Sultan Kudarat, and Maguindanao provinces. Cultural communities within this region also include the Titoray, Tibuli, and the Manubos. Maguindanao originally means people of the flood plain. The name Maguindanao was also named after the sultanate or dynasty that ruled the area for several years. These Muslim groups live in south central Mindanao. They are also known as the Maguindanao. Maguindanao, they are the largest group of Muslim Filipinos. They speak a language that is in the same group as most other Philippine languages, including Tagalog, and are believed have converted to Islam around the 5th and 6th centuries. Maranao. Maranao means people of the lake. Their homeland is called Lanao or lake. Their oldest settlement started around here, and up to this day, highly populated communities still do not leak. Their language is similar to Magindanaon and Iranon. They form the largest Muslim community and cultural minority in the Philippines. Their families are traditionally large and close-knit. Feudal standing is in some parts is still visible. The position, wealth, and land ownership of many to those considered from an ancestry of royalty still maintain some political positions or permanence in their areas. They have traditionally been fishermen and farmers and live in village made up of a few households, but the households have often been large with several families living together in large and partitioned house with people sleeping along the walls and the rear of the dwelling serving as a communal kitchen. Tausog. Tausog was derived from tao, meaning man, and sog meaning current, and translates into people of the current. Another argument made on the meaning of the name states that name in fact translates to brave people, the Tausog even before the arrival of Islam or Christianity, and the people who promulgated their system of government. The Sulu Islands, where the Tausogs are found, had their own system of government. The Tausogs openly welcomed Islam and the systems of government that came with it. This has bred to the establishment of the Sulu Sultanate. Leaders from this region moved to other places in the country, spreading Islam and its system of government in Tawi-Tawi, Palawan, Basilan, Zamboanga, and Sabah. Sama. Also in the Sulu archipelago are the Sama consisting of five subgroups, including the Sama and the Bajau. These people are highly despaired and the Sulu archipelago they are considered both people spending most of their time in constant movement throughout the islands in the area or living on the water. The Sama are also considered the sea gypsies of the Philippines. Yakan. Yakan is the majority Muslim group in Basilan, south of Mindanao. The Yakan have generally two spheres of belief, integrating Islamic principles and traditional beliefs into what is referred to as folk Islam. The Yakans were primarily under the Sulu Sultanate, but proving to be deliberately their own through the leadership of Dato Calon. The Basilan Yakan had given the Spanish and Americans. However, the Yakan have remained in many instances separate from any rule other than that of Sultanate their Dato follows. Due to much political conflict in the area of Basilan, many of the Yakans have settled in the region of Zamboanga City. Number 6. Ilanon or Iranon. The Iranon are said by many to have been the origin of the ethnic groups within the Lanao del Sur of the Maguindanao areas. The Iranon people were important in places like Lanao del Sur and Maguindanao. They also helped the Maguindanao leaders, so basically, they were a big deal in shaping the culture and the leadership of that area. Number 7, the Kulibugan. Kulibugan means half-breeds. Originally from the Subanon tribes, these people are called such because their culture has been said to be half-bred. Having come into Islam through intermarriage with Muslim communities, so the Kulibugan are a group of people from the Subanon tribes who have mixed with Muslim communities through marriage. Because of this, their culture is a blend of both. Subanon and Muslim traditions, they also use the Subanon language and follow some of their origin ways of life, but they also practice Islam and have adopted Muslim customs. So number 8 is Sangil or Sangil.
The Sangil are found in the Balut Sarangani parts of South Cotabato and Davao del Sur provinces. So, the Sangil are a group of people now living in certain areas of the Philippines like Balut Sarangani, South Cotabato, and Davao del Sur. They originally came from the Sanghe Islands in Indonesia, which is why they are called Sangil. Before arriving in the Philippines, they were already Muslims. They are famous for their bull, both making skills. Number 9 is Kalagan. The Kalagan or Kaagan. The Kaagan are mostly found in the Davao provinces. Their Islamization was achieved through the arrival of the Maguindanao and the Tausug. The Kalagan or Kaagan live mostly in the Davao provinces of the Philippines. They became Muslims because of the influence of the Maguindanao and Tausug people who came to their area. However, after groups left, the Kalagan were left with fewer resources and opportunities. So number 10, Muslim inhabitants of Palawan. Palawan inhabitants or Panimusan were Islamized through the Sulu Sultanate through, through the Tausug who went there to introduce to Islam to the local people. In Palawan, a group of people called the Panimusan became Muslims when the Tausug, who were linked to the Sulu Sultanate, came to their area to spread Islam. This introduction to Islam changed their culture and religion. 11 is Jama Mapun. The largest concentration of Jama Mapun is on the island of Cagayan de Sulu. So, the Jama Mapon are a group of people primarily found on the island of Cagayan de Sulu in the Philippines. Unlike many other groups in the region, they live mainly on land rather than focusing solely on maritime activities. So, number 12 is Badjao. Widely known as the Sea Gypsies of the Solo and Celebes Seas. The Badjao are scattered along the coastal areas of the Witawi, Sulu, Basilan, and some coastal municipalities of Zamboanga del Sur in the ARMM. So, the Badjao, also known as the Sea Gypsies, live in the waters of the Sulu and Celebes Seas. They're scattered along coastal areas in Tawi-Tawi, Sulu, Basilan, and parts of Zamboanga del Sur. Living on houseboats, they rely completely on the sea for their livelihoods, fishing and diving for a living. Number 13 is Subanon. The Subanon is a group of animists, lush and born agriculturists that live in the forest interior in southern Mindanao. So, the Subanon people live in the forest of southern Mindanao, practicing slash and born farming and following their own animist beliefs. They're different from the lowlanders nearby, who are mostly Muslims of Christians. Sadly, they have a story of being exploited and enslaved by their coastal Muslim neighbors. So that's all.